What's good, everybody? I'm Blitz5, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over my first impressions and initial review of Apex Legends. So if you guys aren't aware of what this game is, well, that's because it was just announced and simultaneously released yesterday on Monday, February 4th, 2019, and this game kind of came out of nowhere. I started streaming it yesterday, and a lot of people were coming to the stream asking me what this game was, who developed it, and all that stuff, and really, I didn't see that many things online. I had just saw over the weekend, the previous weekend, that Respawn Entertainment was coming out with a free-to-play Battle Royale on Monday, so I made sure that I stayed tuned to the announcement and downloaded the game right away. And if you guys aren't aware or recognize Respawn Entertainment, they're the creators of Titanfall and Titanfall 2, and a lot of the people who created Respawn Entertainment actually came from Call of Duty way back when, during like the Modern Warfare 2 era. They split off, I think, from Infinity Ward and created Respawn Entertainment and said that they were going to compete against Call of Duty, and that's when they created Titanfall. So they have a lot of credibility, and they're in partnership with EA Games. And just to reiterate myself, again, this is a free-to-play game across all platforms, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. The download size for me was around 26 gigs. My buddy Spooky, who I was playing with, said it was around 30 for him, and on PlayStation, it's around 22 gigs according to the internet. So I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy here in gigabyte size. I'm not really sure how that works, but in any case, it's a small game, so I definitely recommend you guys downloading it and giving it a try. And something that I thought was interesting is that Spooky, who I started playing with, said that the game was a lot more fun to play than to watch. And usually for Battle Royale, a lot of people enjoy watching these games, but he said for some reason it just seemed a little bit cluttered when watching it, which there is a lot of stuff on the screen, and that playing it, he enjoyed it a lot more. So if you guys are on the fence, I would definitely recommend downloading this and giving it a try, because that's kind of how he felt as well. Then getting into the game, if I had to tell you guys or one of my friends in one sentence what this game is like, I wrote down in my notes here that this to me is Borderlands meets Blackout. And I say that because to me, almost everything in the game reminds me of Borderlands, but the game is in Battle Royale style, and you're using kind of more realistic weapons, which reminds me of Call of Duty or Blackout right now because of the Battle Royale vibe. But if you look around the map is kind of set in this desert oasis kind of vibe, which reminds me of Borderlands a lot. It's set in the future. There's a lot of like robots going on, and the audio even reminds me a lot of Borderlands. When you look on the ground, even the loot boxes and things that are placed on the ground remind me of Borderlands. Just the whole design of the game does in the audio. So if you told me, that this was created by Respawn, or if you told me that this was created by the people who made Borderlands, I would definitely believe you. And it looks a lot less like Titanfall to me than it does Borderlands. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And there's also characters in this game, or different class abilities, whatever you want to call it, and this is kind of tuning into the new system where people use ultimates and secondary abilities. So this reminds me a lot of like Overwatch or League of Legends, where you kind of time up, and as you play the game you earn your abilities in the game. And also Black Ops 4 has this now. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's not in the Battle Royale version of the game. That's only in multiplayer. So what they did with this is they took those abilities and added it in to Battle Royale, which to me is really interesting, but also makes for a little bit higher of a learning curve, because you need to understand what each character does while you're playing the game, and that's kind of hard to learn because you don't know what the enemies are going to be doing, so on and so forth. But this is a really interesting part of the game, which I'm going to kind of get into a little bit more in a second here. So just to start off, free to play, Respawn Entertainment. Available now, standard weapons, SMGs, ARs, LMGs, pistols, shotguns, snipers, all of that stuff. And then it has a pretty familiar health system. You have health, armor, helmets, shields. That stuff gets a little complicated. Again, I'm going to get into that in a second. And what a lot of people probably are wondering is, what is the deal with the player count and squads right now? So as of this moment, as the game launches, it is locked to 3-man squads only, and a total of 60 players. So you are going to be playing with 20 squads, each with 3 people inside. So the 3 times 20 is 60. And who knows, I have to imagine that they're going to open this up later in the game once they realize that everything is stable. And I can only imagine that they're at least going to do solo and squad play, but I have to imagine that they'll probably try to move that number of 60 total players up to 100, but who knows, maybe Respawn Entertainment is trying to be different here and make this a smaller player base. But this is definitely more team oriented right now because it's locked to squads and of the different class abilities for sure. So let's get into a couple things here. I've broken down my notes into a couple different categories. I have unique things, well done, others, and cons. So there's always good things and bad things in games, but this to me has a lot more good things than it does bad things. And honestly, it seems to me like the developers of this game went and played every Battle Royale, Fortnite, PUBG, and Blackout, wrote down what they had issues with or what they'd like to see improved, and then just did it in this game, because there's so many tiny little quality of life things I'm sure I'll miss in this video that make this game play very well, in my opinion, and make it a little bit more unique. And I really credit them or give them props for switching it up a little bit and putting their own little spin on the Battle Royale genre. So the first thing you're going to notice when you get into a game, again, 3-man squads, you get into the lobby, you all pick your different players together so you can see what your teammates are picking, which is important because you might have like a tank, a healer, or a medic, or, you know, a stalker kind of character, sniper, scout type person, and you jump together. So once you get into the game game automatically picks someone to be your jump leader or squad master or whatever it is, and then that person decides where you're going to jump, and you can tell them or recommend them a position. You can say, hey, I want to go to bunker, and then they can choose to go there or not go there, and then you jump, and you're kind of attached. You're not literally attached, but you're flying with that squad leader, and if you want to separate, you can hold X, but honestly, you know, don't, because it's nice to launch together and land together, and this is such a great system because it's so annoying when you don't land with your teammates, or if one of your buddies disconnects or is on his phone. This way, one person takes care of it, and you follow them, and even if you don't approve of their decision, at least you're going together, and it's always good to just stick together when you're playing a Battle Royale game. So to me, this is a great feature. I really like it, and wouldn't really work probably in the other Battle Royale games, but it's working in this one, and I like it a lot. Then after this, there's an interesting thing. They have a knock shield. So one thing that's super frustrating in Battle Royale is that when you hot drop at a place, or even if you don't hot drop, one of your teammates randomly gets knocked and you can't get over to them in time, they're immediately removed from the game, right? They get thirsted, they get knocked, killed, and they're out. In this game, you can pick up a knock shield. So once you go down, you have a little bit extra health to kind of save yourself and give your teammates time to get over to you. Then on top of that, this to me is the biggest thing in the game. So I hope you guys made it to this part, is that you can bring back your dead teammates into the game. So if they get knocked, the knock shield gets taken down, they die. Once their body's on the ground, or their crate, I'm going to call it like their soul or their crate, you can pick up their banner, which is kind of like their soul, and you have a certain amount of time to bring them to a respawn station and respawn them into the game. And to me, this is so awesome because I hate playing games with a squad where a bunch of my teammates die off the bat. I don't want to play a squad match by myself for the remaining 20 minutes. I really don't, and just hide the whole time. I want to play the game like the way it's intended. And if you win the battle against another squad, I feel like you should kind of be rewarded. And what they do is if you beat the enemy team and you find a respawn station, you can respawn your teammates. And right now, all you have to do is go to that respawn station. You have to do an action for like 10 seconds to load the station, and then they come in a ship without any items. So to me, this is a really great feature. They're coming in with no items. It's not overpowered. The only thing that probably needs to be tweaked is the action time. It only takes about 10 seconds to use this little robot thing to bring in the ship. And to me, that should maybe take a little bit longer because you're defenseless for 10 seconds, but that's really not that much time in terms of Battle Royale to kind of have a whole team come back into the game, which is, you know, could be 1 or 2 players at the most now. So I guess it's not like a huge deal, but I don't know. I'd like to see what you guys think about that down in the comments below. I think it's a great system. Maybe just needs to be tweaked a little bit to be balanced. So those are all the things that I think are unique and amazing. I think very well done, and congrats to Respawn for creating these new systems. On to things that are well done and really nice, kind of just well made in the game. This is the ping system, the looting system, and the end game screen. So the ping system is awesome. If you hit right bumper, it just pings wherever you're looking. If you double tap right bumper, it tells your team that there's an enemy right there. And if you hold right bumper, there's a whole pinwheel of things that you can do. You can say, I think I saw somebody over here. I need ammo. I need health. And to me, this system is incredible because sometimes you want to just say to your teammates, I think I saw somebody in this direction. And then it stays on the map. So your team all knows like, oh, there could be someone behind us. And I do see someone in front of us, and that kind of information is huge when you're playing Battle Royale. Communication is key. Then onto the looting. The looting system is awesome. First thing you'll notice is that when you loot a crate, everything is put into subcategories, which I think some other games have and PUBG is working on, but it's just not in the game right now. And I reference PUBG a lot because that's the main Battle Royale game that I play and stream on a day-to-day basis. So it's nice. You go in there, you can see things by subcategory, accessories, weapons, health, etc. Go right to what you need and pick it up. And then also when you're running through a building and picking items off the floor, you can see your inventory slots pop up temporarily when you picked up a new item. So you can see I have 3 slots remaining, 2 slots, 1 slot's full. And when you play other games, I really have no idea in PUBG when my inventory is about to go full. I'm not hitting start after I pick up every single item and checking how many slots I have. And you really have no idea like what is taking up the most space. It's hard to say. I mean, you can figure it out by ammo and, you know, obviously if you have 10 med kits, you know, you're filling up a lot of space. But this game, it just was really easy to see what was taking up space and when you were going to be full in your bag, and I thought that was a really nice clean system and helped a lot. And also, this is maybe in the other section, but the end screen was just really cool. The only end screen to me that really stands the test of time is the winner chicken dinner PUBG screen. You can say Blackout, Fortnite is a better game. They're probably better made than PUBG. I think they are. But the winner chicken dinner screen, when you hit that, it just feels so great. And then when you win in Blackout, it just doesn't do it for me. And same thing, the Fortnite one is pretty good too because it has that big number 1. But to me, that PUBG thing still ranks supreme. And this one is pretty cool. When you win, it shows your players in the middle of like the stadium kind of thing on top of like a a little platform or a little grass ledge, and it says Apex Champions, and then shows all your stats and stuff like that. It really reminds me of almost like a Hunger Games-esque thing where like people were watching you and you just won the tournament, and they do a big announcement over the stadium, which to me was pretty well done and was sort of like Black Ops where they show you how much damage you did, etc., which I thought was cool. Then on to others. So this is like neither here nor there, just things I wanted to point out. And depending on who you are, it could be good or bad. So the first thing here is that there's a lot of controller options in the game, which I guess couldn't really be a bad thing. More options, the better. And this game definitely reminds me a lot of PC, but the learning curve is definitely high, and there's a lot of things that you can do here. So for an average player, they might not utilize this, but if you're an advanced player, there's a lot to utilize here. So I think that is solid. So many different ways you can set up your controller and settings, which is cool. And then on top of that, I put the TTK is kind of long. That's time to kill. So I get that it's, more arcadey, and this again could be looked at as a positive or negative, but the time to kill was a little bit too long for me, and I didn't really understand how it was really working out a little bit. And so again, when I was playing, almost reminded me of Halo time to kill because you have like a shield and then your health bar. But I think this could be good or bad, but because you can revive people, I feel like maybe they should turn that down a little bit. But obviously as games go on, they tweak the armor system, they tweak the health. So we'll see how this goes on in the next couple of weeks and months of Apex Legends. And moving on now onto the cons. Again, not huge cons here. So my first con is that it's capped at 60 players and only 3-man squads, but we all know that they're going to change that. There's at least going to be solo or duo play, like I mentioned before, you have to imagine. And the health shield armor system to me is kind of a con. It's a little bit confusing. You have your armor is tied into like your shield, and the health system and the health pinwheel to me wasn't that efficient. So that I just did not like that much. Again, kind of subjective. I just wasn't a fan of it. One of the things that frustrated me the most was how do you heal and all those things. And I couldn't tell how much each healing item was going to do. So I feel like I was wasting med kits and stuff like that. And then obviously the learning curve, again, because of all the complex natures of Battle Royale these days, most of them have a high learning curve. But now that this one has different classes and abilities and ultimates, to me, makes the learning curve a little bit higher. And, when you play a game like PUBG or Blackout, you're all going to be on the same playing field, just depending on what guns you find. But in a game like this, when you have abilities, you don't know what other abilities are, you kind of put yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage. So those are my initial reviews there. Overall, I think this game was a lot of fun, but it definitely is on more of the like arcadey, cartoony side, almost to the point where it didn't make me feel like I was going to stop playing PUBG. I could see maybe this taking away players from Fortnite and Call of Duty, and I hope this game does well, but to me it's still not in the same atmosphere of like PUBG and the hyper realistic nature of that game, especially with all of the power-ups and abilities in this game. But definitely a lot of fun to play. Played great, was really crisp for just being released and launched, I said both at the same time, yesterday. So to me, props to them again. Definitely got to play this more to see what it's like and play with a full squad. I only played a couple games with one of my friends, so for the most part I was playing with randoms, and we'll see what happens from here. Honestly, this market is getting really, really crowded right now with Call of Duty in there, Activision, with Fortnite, PUBG, and there's a handful of other Battle Royale games out right now. So this is really crowded space, and I don't know what's going to happen. And we're in an interesting time right now with all of these Battle Royales, but I feel like this one definitely has the ability to stand up as long as they support it. They need to support this game heavy right now. If they back away from this, then it's not going to work. But the thing that helps is that it doesn't look like they're creating any other games right now, which to me is one of the biggest things. If you're making a Battle Royale, this needs to be your biggest focus, kind of like PUBG and Epic Games. So I think they will have a chance, and who knows what's going to happen with Blackout in the next year. Is there going to be Blackout 2? Is there going to be, what are they doing with the next Call of Duty? Activision, to me, has a bigger risk here of what they're doing in the future. So Respawn is definitely in a position to take some gamers away from other games. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up or share the video. That stuff really helps us small content creators out a lot. And as always, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out. GG. Spooky Craze for the win. Blitz 5. Let's go. Last game. Winning the first game of, what is this called? Apex Legends. And we are now Legends.
You are the Apex champions.
Wow, why did they say champions? It should be Legends. Blitz 5 with 5 kills. Spooky with 6 kills. Oh my god.
Damn.
Amazing. Look at that, dude.